How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop, and you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. And I am fired up to be here, no pun intended, as we're part of the Fired Up Network. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Eric Hodorowski's in the house. Nico Puhar, Stephanie Sheridan, Chuck Ritchie Jr., the number one Ocho fan in the world. He and Bear may have to fight. And Nicole, like a triple threat, to see who is the biggest Ocho fan in the world. Welcome, everybody. Dave Peacock, what's going on, brother? All right. I'm fired up to be here. Didn't I already say that? I already said that. Well, I said it again. Fuck it. Said it again. I'm all jacked up on fucking, what is this shit? Non-caffeine starry. Good shit. In any event, let's introduce my first co-host. He is the man with the shiniest mask in the world. He is the resident doctor of Straight Up 5. I got to think of something else to say about this guy. He's a real son of a bitch, but people seem to like him. I don't get it, but people do. So, the four that come here and watch for Ocho. What else? He's from Ochoville. He's got the giant arms. He's got the flopping pecs. The flopping pecs, that sounds like a CFL football league team. Fuck it. Here he is. Dr. Ocho. What's going on?
Well, with that most awful intro, I don't know, man. At least we can only go up from here. I mean, I get it. You're an amateur, and I'm not.
He is a doctor.
Why they're here is because they come to see professionals, plural. And, I have 4 fans. Soon it'll be 8. But there's plenty out there in the Twitterverse, the Xverse, that we know of. And I'm not going to waste any more time since you just killed the show with that god-awful intro. Let's bring the third man through. He's number 7 in your man, and he's number 8 in your hearts. He's number 4 on the floor. It's Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey, Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, sir.
Was that close? That was close, right?
That was perfect.
That's very close.
It was a great intro for Ocho, too, tonight, Rob. Really enjoyed it.
Bro, I've been doing shows with him for like 6 to 8 years now, and I got nothing else. I've literally introduced him just about any other way I could.
You don't have to. Hey, here's the guy here. Bring him in. We got stuff to do. You're on fire tonight, as somebody said.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks you got gas or something. That's probably what that means. Nope, that's what the surprise. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Johnny, what's going on, brother?
Nothing, man. It's been a good week since we were here last. A couple people in the chat already pointing out that it was announced that Dad's receiving the Tony Reyes Service Award for 2023 from the PBA.
That is correct.
Actually, they conducted Dad's interview for that just after we got done bowling league this past Monday.
Oh, cool.
And I can't remember exactly where he has to go. I want to say it's somewhere in the Chicagoland area at some point in April to receive the award. But yeah, kudos to Dad, and obviously all residue of his continued and added extended work with the BVL, the Bowlers to Veterans Link, which now is the title charity sponsor for the PBA. So it kind of ties together. So congrats to Dad on that for sure.
That is absolutely awesome. Congrats, Mr. Petraglia. Nick D'Ambrosio in the house. What's going on, brother? Del Picard. Good to have our normal people here.
And you got the hottest bowler award on Mondays at Havel between 7 and 9, right? I think there was a little trophy.
Yes.
The hottest bowl between 7 and 9 on Mondays only. Mm-hmm. So, because there's a lot of other awards out there, but double night.
Yeah, they do take that into account, and they do make me aware of it, that I'm the recipient. So
they'll put his name up on there. We got pictures and whatnot. It's going to be a grand old time.
It's a real nice feeling.
I bet it is. Jeff Cox, what's up, brother? So speaking of Howell, Mike Val, friend of the show, was here over the weekend last week, and somebody offered or asked if he could sub for him at Howell Lanes, and he said he's not welcome there. Do you know a story behind that? Is Johnny, or was he bullshitting?
I don't think I'm going to air any of somebody else's laundry like that. I don't. I know he's not 86 from the property. If that's what you.
I thought he just didn't like the.
Yeah, it just may not be
plain lanes.
The ambiance he's looking for. You know.
Well, he's always talking shit about Ocean Lanes too, so I never know when to take him seriously and when he's fucking around. So I just thought I'd ask.
I'm definitely not going to drive too deep into those woods.
The Ocean Lanes, if you can throw a house ball, you can average 230. That's the other thing. That's just what I've heard. I never bowled there, so what do I know?
Speaking of woods, Johnny, you're an avid golf fan. Have you seen Tiger lately?
No.
He is jacked to the gills. Apparently, they don't have a steroid testing policy in the PGA because
does he play anymore? Or like.
He looked like LeBron James. Well, I mean, he's not as tall, but I mean.
Well, he's always been in great shape, so I'm looking forward to seeing him juiced up. If that's
that'd be fun.
He is.
I want to see a nice rigid swing, like when he finally has no range of motion and just pokes. He still probably hit it 380.
Absolutely.
Well, you're a doctor. You know he's had knee problems. Would bulking up the
he's had knee, back, and this guy. You know the whole. Now that everybody's a big ball hitter, but let's be honest. You know Tiger when he won the Masters in '97 was. Cutting corners of dog legs by hitting them over the trees and being a little bump and run at worst to the green. You know, he took the whole course out of play. That's why they had to elongate the course. In I want to say 05-ish. And now this is when 2000s rolled around, the big heads, the 460cc. You know that's the max, right?
Yep,
so these guys all started hitting the long ball. Everybody can hit the long ball. Tiger was hitting it and accurate. He had the 2-iron stinger. He had a knockdown 3-wood, but also in 2005 he had a major comeback in the moving day round, which was postponed. So he played like 26 holes on Sunday. So Sunday morning he finally gets to the final group. He's with Chris DeMarco, who's a kind of a pea shooter but an accurate guy. Tiger is hitting. He's hitting a driver in the 17 and 18. Hitting driver 9-iron into the green. DeMarco's hitting driver 4-iron into the green. And it wasn't because he was a bad shot. He was off to the right, had to hit. He actually just doesn't have the distance. Tiger was the first guy to make the long ball a weapon, and now everybody can hit the long ball. They sprayed off. Bubba Watson, obviously a big ball hitter. But because of all that torque, he wasn't a big guy. He was a very flexible guy. He took mechanics to the extreme. He hit it properly, but even hitting it properly is going to do damage. Knee problems. He's had back surgeries. This guy had a limp for 3 years almost. Swung the ball so hard, he had a spiral fracture, an avulsion spiral fracture on his fibula, that's kind of hard to do. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's definitely.
That's stupid.
That's big. I don't know. Is that photoshopped at all?
No, that's no.
His arms are definitely girthier.
And they did a thing in Golf Digest about how he would bench like 315 as a max, which for a golfer, great. Ocho, that's reps, obviously, clearly, and that's no joke. I have videos to prove it. I don't care what anybody you said, but you lose. I don't want to say flexibility, but you lose. You have to be one position with the ball. And the club to the ball, and you kind of lose that the wider you get. The wider you get, now you have a few more hinges, a few more moving parts. Your elbow can't stay as rigid. You can't tuck your back elbow in as much. You can't rotate as much. So you're going to start getting a little loopy and a little army with it, and that's when you spray the ball more. If he can still maintain those mechanics, then again, you're supposed to use your big muscles. If he's got that big trunk rotation and that giant back, he'll still probably freaking draw the ball, again, 320, 330 like nobody's business. But
this is why I love having a doctor.
Might cut down on his injuries too, because he won't be able to overswing. When you're that jacked, I don't think you can unless you get out of your mechanics. And these guys are so dialed in, I don't think he can really screw out of his mechanics.
Well, that's why I asked you if the knee issues would kind of be negated
they're still there. They're still there because you have to plant and rotate. And again, off big muscles, there's a lot of fast twitch going on there, especially when it's slow to fast. Like a runner starting off the starting gate. That's why they kick their legs out the first couple seconds before they go. They're getting the slow twitch to try and at least warm up because, boom, it's on. And that's what a golf swing is. All right.
How is Pedro Martinez able to throw over 100 miles an hour when he looks like
he only can play for 12 years. And that's, I don't want to say, but shit, he had the Walter Johnson of strikeouts in the All-Star game in 99. Who was it? McGuire, Sosa, and some other big ball, Larry Walker, I forget, but whiffed him, 9 pitches. Yeah, that's an anomaly. And that's why you can only do it for 6-7 years as a dominant player.
Yeah. I mean, when he was on the Mets, it was already over.
It was on the Phillies. It wasn't too great. It was Hideki Matsui had a great series off him, hitting 620 and hitting 3 home runs. Anyway, I digress.
Speaking of Matsui and the Yankees, have you heard about Aaron Judge being possibly traded to the Giants?
He's not getting traded anywhere. Are you kidding me? Let me ask you this: if he went mental, would he be judgmental?
I guess that's my
So Johnny, you bowled in the 3rd annual Michael Markis Memorial Tournament this past weekend at Chaco's. How'd you do?
A lot better than I thought I was going to. I'm certainly out of tournament practice, out of tournament shape, but I made it to the round of 16, which was the 3rd round of the finals. So there were 2 separate qualifying days, Saturday and Sunday, 5 games to make it. The top 4 on each day got 2 round byes. The 5th through 8th seeds got a 1 round bye, and then the additional qualifiers. On day 1, I was about 75 over after 3 games, and I hit a pair 11 and 12 at Chaco's, and it was just an absolute nightmare for me and the other lefty that was in the hunt. And as far as I found out later on in the tournament, was treacherous on the right side of the lane also. It was just a pair that had no business being there. And sure enough, 70 over, 155 that 4th game. So I wound up finishing day 1 about 15 over, and I dropped out of the cash, being inside the cash number with a chance to make the finals on day 1 to fall into the 40s. And I remember saying to myself, if that 150 is a 210, I make it on day 1. So I went out on day 2 with just a little bit more confidence because I knew what I was bowling on. I was more comfortable with the angles through the front part of the lane, what needed to be done to carry out the pins, what ways not to miss, as any seasoned professional does. The longer you're on a pattern, the more you understand it. And I was able to come out day 2 swinging 220, 230 the first 2 games, and sure enough, here comes game 3, and I got 65 in the 3rd frame again, just like I did the previous day in game 4 for the 150. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go again. But somehow managed to salvage a 4-bagger and wound up shooting 199 and saving that game. Followed it up with a clean 201, and that took me to 65 over going into the 5th game in qualifying. And I had gone double, missed a split in the 3rd frame, and then struck all the way to the 10th frame. I get up in the 10th frame, and I leave a 3-7 split, and I happen to make it and strike on the fill ball to go plus 108, which was 2 pins inside the 1 bye number. So I had made it with 1 bye, which I was absolutely thrilled about because, if you just go check the Markis Memorial Tournament page on Facebook, you'll see the amount of talent, the amount of titles, the amount of collegiate rookies and players of the year and all these different medals and titles that were won amongst the field. It was definitely a star-studded field, to say the least. I mean, I already saw Brandon Runk in the chat, who finished in the top 4. Great tournament to you, Brandon, for fantastic bowling. Obviously, a huge shout-out to the winner, Alex Cavagnaro, who we've been bowling together since we were juniors. And he just looked like he was supposed to win from start to finish. But, so I get into I got my 1-round bye, and sure enough, who's the first person I got to bowl? I got to bowl the ginger assassin, Anthony Nair. So now I'm like, oh, good. Here's a guy who does this for a living.
Oh, the dude that made the 710, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Made the 710 split on TV. We watched that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's who I drew my first round in the second round, my first round in a 2-game total wood match. And, from the very first shot of game 1, I had a good look, and Anthony was fishing for a look. So I took advantage of his 175 the first game, and I had bowled a 244. So, it was basically out of the wood in the 7th frame of the second game. So I was shocked to advance past him. And then I go right into bowl Nathan Roos-Lajoie, the Frenchman.
Of course, yes.
And he had me by 50 going into the second game. I made it a match. I had a chance to get up and strike in the 8th and 9th to force him to double somewhere. And I choked it off in the when I got up in the 8th frame. Just dead yanked it, left it 2-4. Wound up losing 410 to about 380 in the quarterfinal match. But for me, definitely a confidence booster, and definitely was bowling with a little bit more heart than I have in past tournaments because of the namesake of the event. Huge shout out to Sonny Manelli-Weiland, Steph Sheridan, Eric Hodorowski, Jack Curran, JJ Sunday for running an absolutely sensational event. Can't wait to get back there and hopefully do a little bit better next year. But as the flag was carried for the first 2 events with, really, really close to home, hitting Shea Bittenbender with the first victory, followed by our hometown boy, John Fury, winning it the second year. And now to add somebody like Alex to that list of players that have won this, in remembrance of one of the greatest guys anybody ever knew, it's a pretty good trio to have on that trophy so far.
It's remarkable the impact that Michael had on a lot of people, around the industry and around the sport. Just shows you what kind of guy that, he really was, that, how many people actually cared for him. To this day, you guys can't get over it. I mean, I don't think you'll never get over it, but I mean, it just, I didn't really know him, and I feel bad for you guys, but no, the tournament was great. Everyone did a great job running it. Nobody ever has had a bad thing to say about any of Eric's tournaments or the stuff that they do. The raffles are fantastic. The amount of memorabilia they had to give away was really good.
Oh yeah,
and it's easily one of the top 10 tournaments in the entire country.
Oh, absolutely. You can't wait to see what it's going to do in the years to come now. And because it's run so properly, so promptly, everything you want out of a bowling tournament is available in this tournament. And everything is quick. Everything's on time. Payouts are on time. Score calculations, like everything, announcements, everything is just so well coordinated. And we were talking about this, obviously, I'm close with Eric and Steph, but the biggest thing you could possibly have in our industry is a trustworthy and loyal person running the tournaments you're competing in. And then not only will they always come back to you, they will always bring people that will want to be there also. And this tournament's a prime example of, like, if everybody ran a tournament like this, it would be a hell of a lot more fun to bowl tournaments. It was just real, real good stuff.
Chuck Ritchie mentioned that thank God Anthony and Troy won't be in Bristol this year. Maybe him and Tim Foy Jr. have a chance. That's part of my surprise. I mentioned you guys off air that I wanted to announce. Bristol, Virginia is part of the Tri-City area. And I'm only 5 hours away, so I'm actually going to make the trip up there in a couple weeks for the PBA Interstate Lanes Baker Doubles, the over-under. Bob Learn's going to be there. Elise is going to be there with Nate Garcia. And Chuck Ritchie is going to be there, so I'm going to go see the peeps that we've had on this show and get to meet them.
Are you bowling it or no?
You got to bring your teal rhino.
Get the swamp monster.
Yeah, you have to make sure you plug the weight hole in your swamp monster before you bowl.
Yeah, no kidding. All my balls have weight holes in them, but no, I'm just going to be a
It's
casual observer.
impossible.
I'm going to be a casual observer. My wife and kid will do something around the area. There's plenty of things to do in the Bristol area, but
Bristol, Virginia is 5 hours from you, 4 hours from you. How far is it from us?
Roughly.
Probably
Yeah.
6.
Hey Siri, how far is Bristol, Virginia?
It looks like Bristol, Virginia is about 597 miles
600
away.
miles away from here. We're not coming.
That's 8 hours ish, probably more. Oh no, more. That's probably 10 hours.
We're not coming.
Well, if you leave Friday night, you'll be there by Saturday morning.
No.
I wasn't going anyway. I get paid to go to these events.
Right.
Well, I'm going to try to do some interviews and stuff with the pros there, the regional pros, and friends of ours that have been on the show. So it'll be some extra content for our show. I'll have a report the following week for you guys. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, that sounds absolutely wonderful.
And
Rob on location.
Rob on location. Straight up 5 on location. The gracious Bob Learn Jr. actually is getting a house for the weekend, and he offered to put us up as they have an extra room. So, super class guy.
You're having a separate bathroom for when you have Popeyes, at least, or do you know?
I didn't ask the bathroom situation,
Well,
but
that's what
I
you might
can.
want to do first to be courteous. Just saying.
Yeah, just to be courteous.
Like, this guy's a friend of the show. Don't.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing Bob and Nate and Elise and Chuck Ritchie and everybody else that's there. Who else? I had a list of who's going to be there. Tim Foy, obviously, is going to be bowling.
So you
with
made a
Chuck
list
Ritchie.
and you're checking it twice to see who's going to be there?
Well, yeah, I want to see who I know. And
You're going to find out who's naughty and nice. That's awesome.
There they go.
Bob Learn's going to be bowling with Brian Halen.
Oh, that's a good team.
Let's see.
Related to Van Halen?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Speaking of Van Halen, I don't know if you guys noticed. There's so many segues off you guys tonight. David Lee Roth recently re-recorded "Jump." Just Google it and watch it. It's.
Is it
I'll let
awful?
you make up your own. It's horrible.
And was it
It's
a metaphor for like life or something? Like, was it?
It's just the way he inflects his voice now and the cadence he has. It's just he's like a lounge singer. It's horrible.
I might as well jump.
It was an actual studio recording,
Go
but
ahead and jump.
the band sucks and he sucks. I saw them in concert in Nashville, one of their reunion tours like 10 years ago. Eddie was blitzed. The guitar was way too loud.
Oh wait, do you talk about Van Halen or?
Yeah, Van Halen.
Oh.
I went to Van Halen with
When he played with
DLR,
Wolfgang?
and yes, they played with Wolfie. And
Who was the lead singer? It wasn't Sammy Hagar, right?
no, it was David Lee Roth.
Oh,
they had like
okay,
a reunion
okay.
tour in like 2012ish, somewhere around there.
Oh, right. Then they had that their 15th falling out.
Right. So they put down this like parquet floor in the middle of the stage so Dave can just fucking scream and dance on it in his fucking little booties. It was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. He's fucking karate kicking shit and screaming the words. Like he was so bad. Eddie was fucked up. His guitar was too loud. It was a bad show. I've seen every incarnation of Van Halen live, and unfortunately I saw the original version too late. But Sammy by far was the best concert I went to regarding them. I saw Gary Sharon with them too. He was pretty good actually. But
He just didn't have good music though. Like if he sang the old songs, I never heard him sing anything. I mean, I knew him from Extreme, so I don't know.
Right.
With me.
Which they're doing a comeback tour right now, actually.
Extreme?
Yeah, Extreme is.
Nuno Betancourt is back to playing guitar. He's a Boston guy. You should like him.
I do like Extreme. But actually, speaking of Sammy, I'm going to his concert next year in August in Nashville. They're doing a Van Halen concert with who the fuck is playing guitar? Oh, Joe Satriani was playing guitar.
Oh shit!
Michael Anthony will be on
How
bass.
did they let that happen though? Even though Eddie's gone, isn't Mike Alex still around? Like, is he like okay with this? They're usually pretty tight about that stuff.
They're singing the Sammy stuff for the most part.
I mean,
so,
it's still Van Halen. Oh wait, Sammy Hagar songs? Like I can't drive 55.
I'm assuming he co-wrote.
Okay.
I'm assuming he co-wrote the music when he was with them, but no, it's happening. It was on Howard Stern a few weeks ago.
R.I.P. Ralph.
Great, by the way. Yeah, I know. But Sammy, for 76 or so, he fucking sings his ass off. I don't know what he does to take care of his voice, but he's fucking
Tequila,
really good.
Cabo.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
All day, every day.
Sammy has writing credits. Okay, Chuck, thanks.
All right.
But it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to I was a fan of Sammy stuff. People didn't like the poppy, keyboard and shit like that, but that's where
I was okay with it. It just, dude, listen, somebody put in Van Halen 1 studio album and then listen to, 5150. They're not bad, but like Eddie shredding at age 20 is just badass.
True.
Eruption is 1 minute and 43 seconds of a guitar orgasm.
No, I'm not going to argue with you, but I mean, I respect each era, but Dave as a singer was not as good. He's a better frontman. He's a better entertainer, than Sammy, you could say. But to me, Sammy just has a cooler voice. It's all a matter of personal opinion. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that. I keep segueing to shit that's not bowling, but
Good segue.
What else do we have to talk about? Oh, there's going to be a PBA tournament named after the legend Pete Weber. Finally, I don't know why I took this long to name a tournament after him. It's going to be the Pete Weber Missouri Classic next year on the PBA 50 Tour, so I'm looking forward to that. I mean, hell, John, they named a tournament after your dad, in the 90s. Didn't take them long to do that, but why do you think they waited so long to rename a tournament after one of the greatest bowlers of all time?
It used to be that you had to. No, I'm lying about this.
Well, there should have been a Walter Ray tournament.
I was just going to say, I don't really know what makes them decide when it's time to introduce a name, because Walter Ray, like Oach just said, should have had his name on a tournament 20 years ago. I mean, my dad's had a name tournament. Let's see, his name tournament started in 1991, so Dad was on tour for like 25 years before the JP Open came out. So you would definitely say that Walter Ray and Pete both qualify for that. So does Amleto. So does Mike Colby. So does Parker. Parker did have the Empire State Open named after him for a couple of years.
I like that song.
But I've never seen a Walter Ray Classic. So I think it's cool. True. Like you have, I mean, listen, the longer the guys are out there, the more timeless they become, the more legendary status they depict. Of course you want those names as tournament titles or titles they want. But no, I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason as to why they added his name this year. But I'm pretty sure that Walter Ray will follow pretty soon, people like that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we're also happy that Pete's going to be in the U.S. Open next year. He finally got his exemption. So took forever to get that. Walter's name is on the RPI tournament. Thanks, Troy.
Yeah, so I'm not going to include that as a PBA or even a PBA 50. I'm not going to Walter Ray's name on the Regional Players Invitational, even though that's a big event. It's not where Walter's name should be.
Oh no, absolutely, no. I agree. I completely agree with that.
No, I mean, so I actually don't really know how they decide who's going to get the next name event as far as the game's elite and the game's legends.
I have a video
hitting everybody. We've had Don Carter, we've had Wayne Webb, Dick Weber, AMF Dick Weber Classic. We had we had a Carmen Salvino, I believe. At some point, you got Roth and Holman for the doubles event. Dad is obviously out there. Amleto's name is on one. They'll get around to him.
The Walter Ray TOC. I like that. That's got a good ring to it.
You do that one. Even though that's the only major event he hasn't won. Go figure.
Go figure. Yeah. No, you're right about that. Real quick, I have a video I want to share that Stephanie Sheridan just sent me. Kind of a unique leave. Yeah,
so to prep you on this, this is LeJoie. This is against me.
Okay.
This is in the 7th frame of game 2 of the 2-game total wood match. So right after he leaves this is when I get up in the 8th frame and I choke.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
But both him and I missed this. It was the people in the crowd that actually told us and said, hey, look, that was not a strike.
Sorry, I'm trying to enlarge it. There we go. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So he turns around before it pops back up, and I look down because all I saw him do was strike. Did you see this? This was against me. Watch the 4th one. See it? Mm-hmm.
Is that a string house, or is that just a fucked up?
Yeah, but it was completely down.
Oh my my God.
How's that possible?
Wait, what?
That's the third time. This is the first time I've ever seen it live, and I still missed it because, again, I was looking down before it flipped back up.
Wait.
So the only other two people I've ever seen this happen to are Bill O'Neill and Oscar Palermo.
Did it bounce off the sweep or bounce off the back of the?
No, it bounced off the pin deck.
Oh, Jesus!
And set itself up
and stood itself right back up.
That's the fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen.
That looks fake.
It looks. I thought it was a string because it looked like a string thing, but
maybe he should have threw a better shot.
And it's like, this is against me.
Yeah, of course. Well, you had bad juju going for. Maybe you drove too long.
He had.
What was the result?
That's a 9.
That's a 9.
No.
Yeah.
It was counted as a 9, Johnny.
Yeah, of course. If the pin is standing on the deck, it's standing. If the pin were standing in the flat gutter, then it would be a strike.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that. That's crazy. I hadn't seen the other, times you mentioned with the pros. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, Steph's right. She was actually the one. I know Dylan saw it because he was sitting behind me, but I know for a fact because Steph walked up to Nathan and had to tell Nathan that the 4-pin had to be respotted, or that, and he said what, and I said, what do you mean? Because we were both the closest to it, and neither of us saw it. It was the people in the back. It was crazy.
That is crazy.
Probably like 1 in a million. I'm not sure that ever happened at least against me ever again.
I mean,
Dylan says at the end of the video.
I don't, like, they could record bowling for freaking 10 years and that'll never happen. I swear.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
in the end of the video, you can hear my father.
That's not something like where you're on YouTube. I'm going to try and not going to throw a strike and have a pin set back up, and I'm going to throw 1,000 balls. Like not one of them. You may not throw a strike, but you're not going to knock them down and have the thing set back up. Oh,
this is a challenge to Packy Hanrahan. I want to see you
try to. I was thinking of him. Or maybe
I want to see you replicate that on the house bowling if you're listening.
So, doesn't he try to make like 7-10s and whatnot, and 7-10 pins?
John Chaco.
Yeah,
I saw the pin. It never even wobbled. Yeah, it's nuts. That's
never even wobbled. That video shows that it never even stuttered. It just like boing, just stood right up by accident.
Like it literally went down and up.
Yeah, it completely fell and stood its ass back up.
Like in
Ocho, you're a doctor. How does that happen?
Shut up. What was it? Jim Carrey when like he just pops up and he goes, oh,
it's Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
Hey, Sonny, what's going on?
When he's
Hi, Sonny.
Hi, Sonny.
Hi, Sonny.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
I thought you had like the show written out, man. What happened?
Oh, I got it. Just gonna follow this up here because whenever I bowl well in tournaments, I bowl like dick in league.
Oh yeah, I do want to talk about league. Yes,
fair enough.
Thank you.
I'm driving my buddy Tim back to the airport, which, by the way, whose team definitely had it to set some kind of a record in league last night. I think they shot like 38-80 or 38-78 for a 5-man team, which is, I don't know if it's a full-blown record, but it's certainly a badass. I think low man on the team was 744.
I do have a bachelor's in physics, by the way, Nico, just an FYI. So that's a different thing.
A pair of 750s, a 770, and like an 840. So shout out those guys. But no, meanwhile, I drive Tim to the airport, but my sorry ass forgets my work computer at Steph's house. So now I'm like, instead of being a half hour ahead, now I'm an hour behind. So I drop him off in Philly, and of course, of all the times there's ever traffic on 195, there's an accident at exit 8, and I'm delayed another hour. So now I get to the bowling alley, I have to fucking miss the first game. For the next 2 games that I did bowl, I missed the pocket 1 time, and I shot 212, 198. And then last night in the league, I bowled 184, 184, 207. After that awesome performance this weekend, I go to league, and I can't fucking shoot 220. So it's amazing when you're focused on doing one thing on tournament or sport conditions, how you almost forget how to bowl on a house shot when you come back.
Didn't Jacob Buttriff say like he can't bowl on it? Was it him? One of them said like they can't bowl on a house shot because
most pros don't want to bowl on a house shot.
I think it was him. He said like
no, you're right. It was him.
The forgiveness is too much that you lose your swing, you lose your whatever. I don't know.
Troy says league doesn't matter.
The law of averages, though, too, I guess. But I don't know. That's why we should have a uniform shot. The freaking damn house shot shouldn't be so damn housey. That's just
Agreed.
my thing.
Agreed. But again, we've had this conversation. You're going to lose.
I know. Well, look, I'm carrying 219 now, and I don't mean my weight.
Fucking finally, dude. 219. I've been begging for you to do 219 for years.
These arms can throw 219 around like nobody's business. He knows. This guy.
Yeah, house shots suck. I mean, I think every pro can pretty much,
Well, especially the younger guys. Like, you're talking about Simo. Simo's in his mid-20s. Right? I mean, when your bowling life starts after 2002, because that was kind of the introduction of sport bowling was in the early 2000s. So anybody who's, starting out even in junior leagues around that time is going to despise a house shot because it's more foreign to them than a sport shot is to guys in like my age bracket. I went all through high school and all through high school, because I skipped a few years before I went to college at Morehead State. But all through high school, there was no such thing as sport for me. Sport started getting entered at the tail end as I was leaving high school bowling. So we had to relearn it, the guys that are 40. We had to kind of mold our games to the difference in sport compared to what we knew prior to it. The people born into the sport era, so let's say people that are 6 years of age or older, starting in, say, 2001, 2002, 2003, every tournament they go to is on some kind of sports shot, some kind of closer ratio than your standard 14-1 house shot. Everywhere that they go, everything that they're bowling on what is basically what would have been the house pattern for us when we were kids, or that younger generation. So to them, it's got to be extremely foreign to see a house shot. Oh, I get my ball out 3 boards and it wants to hook through the nose. What's that? Oh, I yank it and the ball barely gets to the head pin. What's that? And the funnel effect is in some circumstances. So guys like Simo and guys in even a little bit younger than Simo, they don't even know what the change was like going from, basically being able to pitch the ball as far left or right if you want, whether you be righty or lefty.
Yeah, you got an 8-board area, and then you area ball basically, and it's and that's why people thought they were good, I guess, back in the day. I don't want to say back in the day because people who knew about bowling, I guess, would figure like, hey, this doesn't seem right. But when an amateur shows up and sees the pros on TV that bowl 220 to 218, and they go, wait a second, I just drilled up a bowling ball that a beast, right? That was a bowling ball, right?
Yes.
It's the first one John L. gave me.
Good job, John.
And then they start throwing like 180s. They're going to go, wait a second, I could do this. That's not something you go to a batting cage and hit pro fast.
Right.
And even with the biggest, reddest wiffle bat you ever wanted that was aluminum, you ain't touching it. I can. He can. We can hit a fastball because we know what a fastball timing is. But
I just don't. I didn't see that many 300s in leagues in the 80s and 90s, and now
it's every night.
It's every fucking night of the week with guys that average 185. I mean, it just makes me want to fucking bowl again. Well, it makes me want to bowl again, right? Because when I was a kid, I don't think we had an easy house shot. I don't think nobody ever talked about it. I don't know what kind of pattern they used in the 80s and 90s in my junior bowler days and JBT.
Or was it just they kept the lanes from getting chewed up by the bowling ball? I'm not even sure what it.
Johnny might know, but I don't know.
And so I'm sure it was consistent. But
the oil in the lacquer days and like the shellac days, we're going way, way back. The conditioner was more so applied to protect the coating of the surface. It's a lot softer, more pliable coating on those types of wood and shit. When you had Guardians, or Guardian on the front of say the first 15 to 20 feet of the lane was Guardian placed over wood. But there was always relative patterns. Like, for instance, they would always oil the lanes to a certain length, say in the late 80s, mid 90s, early 90s. Didn't have actual patterns per se, but they did say, hey, it's going down this far, it's buffed to this far.
Let's make it. This is how far the oil's going to be, at least.
Right. There is a heavier concentration in the middle as opposed to the gutter, things along those lines. But there was no definitive pattern. There was never a graph on the wall that told you the milliliters or anything along those lines.
Right.
The guys had limited equipment, and they had to figure out ways to make the limited equipment work on whatever condition was put out that week. So what was the main...
League talk, man, league talk.
League talk, and then we got into sport patterns. And
well, we're talking about like how when you said Simo bowling on a house pattern and whatnot, that was like nothing, huh?
No.
All right.
No.
Mrs. Williams said there wasn't any patterns.
No,
They
it
just had to
wasn't
go
even
by
like a
whatever-
true topic.
whatever
It
the
was
rules
more
were.
like
No,
we
I
just
was just
started
feeding-
bantering.
Yeah, I was just feeding.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about league bowling, and we just got off into sports shots and shit like that.
Yeah, we were kind of just feeding more into the whole. The game is entirely different now than it used.
Yes,
So it's no
correct.
there's no wonder why kids nowadays hate house shots because they don't even know what a house shot is. They weren't really born into that phase of life. Is what I was.
Sherry just said something very important.
Dylan said that Simo hated house shot. That's how we got into that. Sherry said back in the day, carrying a 200 average was crazy. With today's equipment and soft patterns and synthetic lanes, if you don't average 200 plus, people look short on you. Yeah,
I do. And I point you out, and I talk down to you. I literally talk down to you if you average 190 or less. I'll walk up to you, and I'll bow up, and I'll be like, are you kidding me? You have a something bowling ball? Because I know bowling balls. None of that's true.
Yes. Well, you know a couple bowling balls, but
I know what I
down
have.
on you.
Finally,
I know what
after
you
a
meant.
year of him telling me what they are.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said, back in the day, we didn't talk about patterns. It wasn't a thing. That kind of makes me want to bowl now,
I
just
knew
to
Rob
see how.
bowling balls before I knew what the hell mine were. Shit,
That's true. I just want to see how easy it is now. Like, I literally want to get
it's not
some new
easy. Don't
equipment.
talk like that.
If I could hold 195 as a shit bowler, I'm pretty sure I can average over 200.
All you would need to do is drill 2 moderately new bowling balls. Your stuff,
Right.
you'd have a little bit harder time seeing how much easier the game is compared to what you remember. Like Sherry said, when it was hard to average 200, or when people actually stopped when somebody was on like an 8-bagger in league, or when everybody stopped if somebody had a chance to shoot 820 in league. I mean, it was unheard of, right? It was when you saw somebody with a 6-bagger, you knew they were bowling a big fucking game. There wasn't 4 6-baggers on every single pair. The game has gotten so easy because of the technology of the bowling balls, as well as the oil itself. And like we always talked about in the past, and the pins still weigh the same. You can legitimately buy hook in a box to a point that's unprecedented nowadays. You can go drill a friggin' Rotogrip gem, and I guarantee you go shoot 700 your first day out, just because you wouldn't have to worry about hitting at the bottom, and it would still hit the pins like a ton of bricks. There's these funnel effects, and you could do whatever you want from any part of the lane you want now. You can throw it up straight up 5. You can be a tweener and play between the second and third arrow.
You can swing it a little bit. Yep. And the ball faces. It always faces up. By the time it gets through the roll, it always faces up. That weight block does some wonders. Rob, when you bowled, did you have like a little bit of hand, or were you like because I mean, you said you used to average 195 when you were 12, right? Something like that, or when you 12.
I mean, through my mid 20s, when I early 30s, I never usually top 200. But I mean,
early 30s. That's only like 10 years ago, for Christ's sakes.
That's 15 years. I've been here for 13. I haven't bowled in Tennessee. I used to bowl in Connecticut before I left. Like 2009 was the last time I
was easy back then. That's when I got all my fake ball, all my free bowling balls. Ah, shit.
Bradley Bowl didn't. I don't know.
Well,
maybe Bradley Bowl didn't have a house.
But I mean, did you? Because I honestly, I figured if you had thrown the ball properly, you almost probably have to take your hand out of it with the way the house shot is, or again, you change where you're standing or something. But,
I had about 20 revs, 25 maybe.
So you're still going to use the little slide thing that you just throw it down and whatnot. I got you. Still probably hook in the pocket. That's the damn problem with it.
I threw the ball hard though. I mean, I was like 18 miles an hour and just straight down, straight or 5.
I guess that's Brett just made me think of this. Like when I was bowling the Middlesex County Majors when I was 19, there were like 4 guys in that league that averaged over 230. It was crazy to average over 230 in like 1999, right?
Right.
Like if you average over, like the good bowlers average 220, but the exceptional bowlers average 230.
I mean, I still kind of think it's crazy to average over 230.
But the 4 guys in our league that averaged over 230 were Sean Riccardi, Mike Reisner, John Gualtieri, and Armin Federici.
John Gualtieri, holy shit.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5, and John Paris. Like these are like the best bowlers New Jersey has had to offer.
Did he limp even then too?
Yeah.
Gualtieri? Holy shit! What that guy didn't miss.
And like one of my main goals growing up was like one day I want to average 230 in league. You know, like that was cool in 1999. Now there's a fucking there's a 240 on every third pair, and there's a 230 at least one on every single pair every league night. It's gotten so out of control. They don't even give you your fucking first 300 ring anymore.
Right.
That's how.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't get mine.
You know, like they don't even give you an award for bowling 300 anymore.
They certainly don't give any 299 awards.
Well, I mentioned my stepdad, Glenn Hood. He was, 220s bowler with, Litchie, Roger Burrell. There's a lot of good bowlers that came out of Bradley Bowl. And he ended up bowling in league in Colorado, where they moved to a few years ago. And it was so easy for him. He was averaging like 242 or whatever. He's like, there's no challenge for me. It wasn't even fun at all anymore for him. So he just bowled 1 year and said, fuck this. I'm not doing this shit anymore. So, there's a huge difference. I mean, when you bowled 220, when you average 220s in the 80s and 90s, that was, you're the best of the regional bowlers pretty much at that time.
So, that's kind of goes back to our discussion about the inflated averages nowadays, because now
Poor Ocho. I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Wait, am I really not a 219 bowler? Is this what you guys are telling me? This is devastating to Ocho. But I got the temperament for it, so I'm okay.
We still love you, though. I mean, it just, regardless of how big or small your wiffle bat is, we still love you. I
use the Slim Slammer. I use that little yellow gimmick there. Don't you worry. Missed 610 pins all year so far.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the Imbecile of the Week.
Some people are really stupid.
So I had a hard time picking the Imbecile of the Week again. And maybe I'll just make this a vote thing every week. I have 3 examples tonight for you gentlemen. And for those in the chat, if you want to chime in. Let's start with the first one here. Ryan Ritter's posted The Collection Grows, Storm Bowling. Pretty cool setup he's got there. He's got Eternity, he's got a Fate, he's got the Phase 2.
Are they just display balls, or are they like...
I'm assuming...
So like you don't use them?
I don't know. I mean, that's not really kind of where I'm...
Wasn't that the guy from last week?
Oh!
Yeah, fuck Doc.
No.
Yeah.
I thought he was looking about... I'm like, I'm obviously Doc Holliday.
Oh.
No, Doc Sullivan.
He's talking about
the guy from last week.
Yeah. No,
come on, we're like a continuation story.
All right,
we're not a sitcom.
I missed it. I got confused because of this.
We're a drama.
Troy doesn't miss it.
All right, fine. The collection grows. We got it.
Okay. Here's what somebody had to say. Okay. Dave Schechter, a top contributor, says if you feel the need to make your balls fragrant to boost sales, your equipment is inferior.
I spray mine.
So this comment actually may have held some water if this was like the first 3 months that Storm was fragrancing their bowling balls. But since they started fragrancing their balls in 2002, they've been unstoppable in the bowling industry.
I'm going to say, how can you call them inferior when
epic for
they win 75% of the tournaments? Like, how can you say their products are inferior?
How can you wait 22 years after them producing some of the best items the sport's ever seen to write that? Fucking 21
years later.
What a douche flute. Sorry for my
okay, so
douche flute. Hell yeah.
I'm not really
That's
prepared.
our name.
Right. Not really prepared.
All right, keep that one in mind. Next one.
All right.
Joe Sanderson posted time to get back in the game and piss some people off.
I like
Johnny, can you tell me what those balls are? Just looking at them. Obviously they're hammer
a red
products.
hammer, a powder blue hammer, and a blue pearl hammer.
And what would you say the year those were released?
1987, 88, and 89.
Okay.
Or 86, 87, 88.
So Brett Groves want to know, why would this piss people off?
Yeah, if any, it would excite me. If somebody pulled out those 3 balls, thank you, Dan, 87. If somebody pulled out those 3 balls and to use against me at league, he would be my new best friend. So, yeah, I'm with Brett. Why would this piss people off?
Well, the poster, Joe, said, I'm truthfully not sure. Just see how many people bitching about urethane and PBA making illegal. Johnny, can you tell me the difference between these 1987 balls and the current Purple Hammer? What's the major difference between those? Not in years, but just say out of the box.
Well, out of the box, the purple urethane was made using more of today's specifications in today's market. If you came out with a remake of the original like blue purple or blue pearl hammer with like from Fable era from like the late 80s, it would go. I mean, it would still hook a little bit, but it would go 100 feet comparatively speaking to what we have now. Like Brett said, molecular chemistry is different.
So the older balls wouldn't just chew up and soak up all the oil like the purple does.
They wouldn't soak it up nearly as much as a purple. And like Jeff also said in the chat, the weight block is a different shape in the purple hammer compared to those as well. But those are just like if Columbia wanted to re-release, the wine U-Dot and the black U-Dot. If Brunswick wanted to re-release the black Rhino, if you take an Ebonite Turbo, I mean, they would all be urethane bowling balls, but they wouldn't perform near as much. This doesn't really get an imbecile for me because I love Joe Sanderson's bag here. I think it's awesome that he has those 3 balls. And I'm assuming he's saying he's going to piss people off because most people that bowl league, when they see a urethane ball hit the lane or hit the ball return, their first thought is, this guy's going to fuck up my line. It's like, yeah, good luck, bro. Like, real sorry for your loss. Your 210 average might bowl 205 today instead of 212.
I thought it was meant to be like, I'm going to take my old shit out and beat these guys. So, like, I wasn't sure if that's what he meant too, but that's what an amateur might think. Like, the
way I took it is he thinks, people are pissed off at the purple, so I'm just going to bring all 3 of my fucking hammers out and they're going to act like the fucking purple, but they're not.
Yeah. And meanwhile, what will happen is all 3 of those balls will roll so close to one another on.
You won't know which one to use, basically.
Right. The powder blue would hook the earliest and the most. The red one would go a smidge longer, and the blue pearl one would go a smidge longer than that. So, like, it's not like that guy's going to go there and pop off 830 against everybody using his urethane. I mean,
he's going to have a board difference from where he's throwing each of them. And will they start rolling out or something if they also get if they dry up? Because the lanes dry up.
Exactly, and since they don't hug the lane the way the newer stuff does, like the purple, there's no way for the ball to change direction close enough to them, and
so it'll just start to hit like a marshmallow or something.
It'll hit like a bag of you.
I mean, he may be on the right track to where he thinks all league bowlers are fucking stupid, and if they see 3 hammers come out, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what the fuck, bro? You're just gonna fucking burn up all the oil." Yeah. Maybe. And
it's never the great bowler, and it's never the bottom rung of the league bowler. It's always the people that are right around the middle. The guy who averages,
he has to know enough about it because, like,
a guy that averages 202, and when he's the one that shoots 268, even though his team lost by 100, he's happier than a pig in shit because he's probably advancing in the eliminator. And he's going around high-fiving everybody, talking about how he just bowled 268.
We just got swept, but I shot 680 and I won $32.
Right. It's those kind of people that have the problem with the urethane anyway. Or the people that say, I've been coming to this building for 30 years. I've never had to move my feet once. I'm not moving my feet for this urethane asshole. Well, sir, you've averaged 180 for the last 30 years. You keep your feet there. It doesn't matter.
That's why it's called an average, because if you shoot 140, you'll shoot 210 the next week when the guy, whatever, he won't even know the difference. Here's the thing, honestly, like, I have never once looked at a bowling ball on the rack and gone, oh, shit.
Right.
This guy is going to throw
That's because you know nothing about bowling balls.
Well, I know a little bit. I don't know enough, I guess, to know if it's going to chop up my shit because the way the pattern is, I'm okay. And if I have to move a little bit, I move a little bit. I don't know. Or I use my 3 bowling balls that I have. Right.
You're popping.
Right.
You're popping Troy.
But it's just like, it's kind of, and I've heard someone, like, it's like people will go, you're not going to believe this guy, what's it called? Grit is what what do they say?
This guy's saying that his shit to
500. Grit is grit to 300. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, really? You couldn't? I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Ocho talking bowling shit is like us trying to talk doctor shit.
Well, he's still not the
I'm
imbecile.
not that far wrong, though.
And the guy's not really the imbecile. Unfortunately,
Okay.
It's everybody else that's made this seem like it has to be said.
Right.
Like, hey guys, like I would never ever like go to the batting cages or go to like a baseball game and say, hey guys, ready to piss off some people, and then bring out my fucking Louisville Red
aluminum,
you know, or like my fucking Omaha Gold or my Easton Reflex. Like, don't want to piss anybody off by bringing out my 33-28 this week. Like, you don't have to fucking announce it, dude. Just go and bowl, and people are either going to say, holy shit, dude, you think it's time for an upgrade in equipment? Or they're going to say, holy shit, dude, that's so nostalgic. Or they're going to say, this asshole's going to ruin my line. It doesn't. But they're always going to say it anyway, so just fucking go.
But is that more of a testament to the mentality of those weak-minded? Or is it a testament to the guy already, you know what I mean? Like, because there's a reason he's saying it, and he knows that other people are that fucking char-headed that they're going to bite on it, though. Like, that's the weird thing. It's almost like, this is why it's, I love the camaraderie, but God, some people are idiots.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
This is a chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Yeah, because the guy is obviously catering to what he believes other people are looking at him and saying anyway. So he's almost trying to cover his own ass by saying, I know I'm going to piss people. Yeah, I know I was going to piss you off. Yeah.
And then if he shoots 520, he's like, oh, you know I knew I was going to fucking do that.
Deep down, this guy is so happy that he still has those 3 balls and cannot wait to use them. It's the only balls. He probably has 10 other balls, but just wants to throw those because he loves them so much. So he's trying to protect his own ass, which means he cares a lot more about what people think above himself, which is kind of a weak-minded
thing. Very mentally weak.
It's a mentally weak thing to do. So he's not an imbecile, but just bring the goddamn balls, dude. You don't have to fucking make no bullshit announcement. Plus, it's not even the fucking soakers that everybody's talking about.
But I'd be curious if he recorded himself putting the balls up there and then watch everybody's reaction. Yeah. And then see the mental weakness of them.
All right, so Dave Schechter is in the lead right now. We'll take.
You guys are doing okay. Yeah, I was checking it out too.
Okay, here's the next one. Ross Bryant posted, I recently bought the new Blue Hammer, mainly because I figure I'm lefty and won't be ruining that side of the lane for anyone and can take advantage of urethane if there is one. If I'm only shooting house shots, was this pointless to add to my arsenal? I feel like I lost all power on the back end and really not sure when it will ever come in handy. Can someone explain when I would ever use
when
it?
You're on tour. No, that's not nice. I won't be a dick.
So Luke Rosdahl asked the question to that post. I'm not sure why you'd buy something in the first place if you didn't really know what you were buying. Ross said, me either, but here I am. So Johnny, if you're going to spend $200 and something on a bowling ball, because clearly I don't think Mr. Ross here is a Brunswick staffer. And we kind of had this question the same last week. It's like, I bowled 3 games in this fucking ball and it sucks. Why would you buy this ball if you had no idea what it would do?
He was told it was good. That's the thing. But I don't know.
Just because it's new and shiny. I mean, it's.
I've done it with golf clubs.
It's a first of many. You know, it's the first experimentation with using a ball that's not urethane but rolls like urethane. It's the same thing happened when everybody started throwing the purple hammers. We started getting league bowlers in the pro shop that wanted to buy a purple hammer. And I would beg them. I'd say, listen to me. I know you see this ball winning every single tournament every week on television. This ball's not going to make you make television. This ball's not going to increase your average. This ball's not going to give you more hook down the lane. You know, this ball is designed to read the lane closer to you. It's designed to make the lane patterns easier for bowlers. These balls are not designed for people that are basically going to league to bowl. This is probably another lefty that averages somewhere in that 175 to 195 range. The problem is the purple hammer is the most recognized bowling ball in the world right now, and the new blue is the now new version of what is no longer allowed at the pinnacle level of our sport.
This is the sexy ball, basically. This is the new NFL team that's supposed to be good that year. But we'll see if they are or not.
Right. But if you go out there with it's actually ignorance is what it really boils down to. Because like if I was torn, we were bringing up the baseball bats. If I was torn between, and I'm going back to like the aluminum bats that I used when I was playing ball. So I loved the Redline TPX, and I loved the Omaha Gold. But I also loved the Reflex from Easton. So I like 2 bats.
Easton was my shit.
From Louisville, and I like 1 from Easton. I didn't know which one I wanted the most, so I went and I tested them. I hit them. I noticed the Omaha Gold, the ball made the nicest sound, but I noticed that the ball popped way faster off of the Redline. I also found that as far as comfortability, the Reflex felt the best in my hand. So even though the Redline was supposed to be the longest composite bat up to date when it came out, the Reflex I hit better than it. So just because the book says something, you can't follow it. So, and the problem is the ignorance here is all you have to do is any kind of research. You can watch bowling ball videos. Like I know for a fact that there's a video of, just off the top of my head, that are quick finds on YouTube, Packy Hanrahan and Brandon Bone. Throwing the new blue. Now I'm telling you, I don't care what kind of lefty you are. If you're two-handed, you don't hook it more than Packy. And if you're one-handed, you certainly don't throw it harder than Brandon. So those are the first people you'll see throwing the new blue. So even if you think you can throw it like Brandon Bone or Packy Hanrahan, which you can't, those guys aren't making the ball hook that much. So what on earth would compel you to go into your pro shop operator and say, look, I want this ball because I saw it? The pro shop operator is obviously at least trying to direct him in the right way. But all that guy had to do was go say, you know what, let me type in storm bowling. Let me see what this journey is that everybody is also talking about. Let me type in this nuclear forge from Motive that everybody's talking about. All you got to do is do a little bit of research. So it's again, it comes down to ignorance or just complete impulse buying or just like the unwillingness to actually go out and do the due diligence to make sure you're getting the product you want.
I could have just a shit ton of money too and don't care. I mean, that's another thing.
Well,
but he did also go on there and say, hey, here's what I bought. But maybe he's got a fragile mind with a shit ton of money.
And this is another guy. He's saying, I recently bought the new blue hammer mainly because I figure I won't be ruining that side of the lane for anyone.
What a nice guy.
And then he says, and take advantage of urethane. Well, first off, Mr. Bryan, you bought a ball that's not urethane, hence the NU. You just bought a higher hardness resin bowling ball that's a 2-piece design that's supposed to mimic a very low-end resin or a steroided up urethane ball. So, but the fact that you would ever get a ball figuring it won't be ruining that side of the lane for anyone right there, that's really the imbecilic comment of the whole entry here.
I don't think anybody's gotten a bowling ball and said, like, okay, let me think about this.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm on starting defense for the Steelers, and we're playing the Browns this week, so I have to make sure that I buy the softest spikes possible so I don't ruin the field.
Yeah, the field has to stay calm because they have a big band practice the next day, and we don't want to let it go.
I'm all for giving a shit about other people, but at some point, does any bowler at this level give a shit about themselves?
No. Plus, he thinks it's urethane and literally says on the ball, not.
Yeah, and
urethane.
Of course you feel like you lost all power on the back end because you drilled a ball that's not supposed to curve on the back end.
Right. I feel like that sentence is so he comes off classy and I don't know. I feel like it's almost more lip service than anything. Like I don't know that he actually went and said, I need a ball that won't tear up the lane for other people. Or there's so many people. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm way out of the loop.
There might be some credence to that, Ocho. All right, let's take a vote, guys. Do we think Ross here with the not urethane, or do we go with Dave Schechter who wants to shit all over the storm?
I think we should scroll their profile, look at all their pictures, and see what other shit they have on there, just to really decipher.
Although he is a dog lover, so I'm not going to call him an imbecile.
It looks like a big.
I'm just going to say that this would have held a lot more water if he'd have posted it 20 years ago.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Well, congratulations, Dave Schechter. You are this week's Imbecile of the Week. I'm not going to say go fuck yourself like Doc Sullivan because he can still literally go fuck himself sideways. Sorry, Dave. Dave, if you would have mentioned this 20 years ago before they won 7,000 tournaments, then you might have some credence to your statement. But sorry, Dave, you're this week's Imbecile of the Week. All right, what else? Anything, Johnny, before we wrap it up here, pal?
No, tell you the truth, I'm pretty good right now. I was actually kind of surprised that we fit a whole hour in with everything. But I guess the last thing that I want to say again is another huge shout out on the Michael Markis Memorial Tournament held at Chaco's this past weekend. Huge shout out again to Stephanie Sheridan, Eric Hodorowski, Jack Kern, Sonny Manelli Weiland, and JJ Sunday.
Are Stephanie and her husband like the cutest couple ever? By the way, like they seem like they just mesh so well.
They really are. They're literally
they do mesh.
Men in Rome.
But no.
What ball had the chocolate scent, Johnny?
The X Factor was the original chocolate fragrance bowling ball.
The OG.
But it smelled like Tootsie Roll chocolate, not real chocolate.
Oh, that's not real. Fuck that.
I know.
I love Tootsie Rolls.
Of course you do, Rob.
Of course you do.
What a dumb sentence to ask. Or say. That's just it's understood. God damn.
Ocho, what's my X handle?
Popeyes.
Yeah. But thanks again for all that.
Wrong button.
Remember, we are not here next week because I am traveling to Las Vegas to go pick up Evelyn. Evelyn misses the show terribly.
And she misses the cutoff man.
Yeah, which is something we would like her to work on before
in the
next
off season.
So yeah, we'll have Evelyn back the week after next. Thank you.
I wish I understood that reference. You guys kill me with your references. I'm
What are you
always
going to
left
Rat Bastard?
Never saw it.
That's how you. That's embarrassing. Have you seen Major League?
Yes, I have. Yes,
then it's really more embarrassing. You haven't seen League of Their Own Sexist.
Okay. Guys, we love you. Thank you for coming this week.
Love you guys.
Jeff Cox wants to know when you're going to be there, Johnny.
I'm flying in on Tuesday the 12th at 6 p.m. and I'm leaving at 11 p.m. on Wednesday the 13th. Literally flying in with a backpack and leaving with a backpack, a dog, and a dog carrier.
There you go. That's fair. Awesome.
And I bought a bunch of sweaters because she's never seen cold. So
that's true.
It's gonna be her first East Coast winter.
It's gonna be weird for her. Brett wants you to hit him up too, Mr. Loringer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you will. Guys, thank you, Sonny. I appreciate the nice comments. We love all of our friends in chat here. We're still 32 strong here at the end of the show, but so Johnny will be here next week. And then the week after will be episode 96. We're getting close to 100, Johnny.
Yes, we are.
Have you decided who you're bringing on yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Tell me off air. We'll keep the surprise for everybody else.
I will.
Oh, by the way, also, real quick, John Mazza, who's fucking fantastic, he is hooking us up with Bob Strempy and Carmen Salvino. So we're going to hope to get them on in 2 weeks. So
sounds great.
Talking some old school bowling. I'm sure they could have a million stories. So that'll be
plenty of stories on that show.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Take care, guys. Good night.
Later, guys.
Fuck you, Doc. Fuck you, Doc.
Fuck you.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightUp5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.